Hi there, my name is Amy and I am the co-founder of Kier's Beauty in Liberty Village. And I'm making this video today because I've had a lot of my clients come to me after purchasing the manicure kits about options to do their pedicures at home. Um, I think it's a great time to do this video and talk about this topic because if everything was business as usual, we would be seeing our regular spikes for pedicures because everybody wants to get rid of their winter pedicure and get their pre-spring, pre-summer pedicure so they can show off their feet in, flip-flops, in their open-toed shoes to match all of their cute summer wardrobes and whatnot. So now that the quarantine has been extended to another 28 days, it means that you'll most likely won't be getting a pedicure until June the 1st or even July the 1st. And that also means that you are way past that point of just scratching the sheets with your heels. You're probably at the point where you're full out shredding the sheets and like just completely slicing open your partner in bed. And if you're at that point, you shouldn't wait until the quarantine's done to take care of your feet because if you have dry, cracked heels, chances are the longer you prolong that care, your heel can actually crack, bleed, and can be prone to infection. So you want to really learn how to take care of your feet anyways, because what you do on a daily, weekly basis trumps what you do once a month in terms of the foot care. If you have really great soft feet anyways, then honestly that doesn't really apply to you. But for people that have that dry skin, you should be taking care of your feet a lot more often than waiting to take care of it. And I think a lot of times people don't take care of it is because they don't really know how to do it properly and they're not using the right product that suits not only the condition but also the preference. And if you hate it, you're not going to do it. So I want you to kind of be educated about the options before you full out say, I hate doing it. Okay. So let's just start by talking about what's the difference between a waterless pedicure and a dry pedicure. So if you visit Cures before, you will know that ever since we opened, we only perform the dry pedicure, which means we do not pre-soak the feet prior. And the reason why we don't do that is because I learned a technique from the UK called the Medi-Pedi. It was developed by a foot doctor named Margaret Dabbs. And what she did is that she's a foot doctor that merged the clinical side of the industry to the aesthetic side of it, making it a lot more accessible to like a wider clientele opposed to just like a medical like in clinic treatment. And the reason why we don't pre-soak is the callus and dead skin and acts like a sponge. So when you submerge your feet in water, it absorbs all that water and retains it. So it has that gooey texture. And even when you try to scrub it off at home, you'll find that it won't come off as easy. And the reason being is why we do it in the salon is because after we soak, we actually use an acid to break down that skin so it's easier to scrub off. Or in some cases, people will use a blade. Now, those methods are not only outdated, but they're extremely ineffective because if you were to go into a clinic to treat dry skin, they actually do everything completely dry because dry skin that doesn't have bonds that like is holding everything together, it's so brittle that anytime you're filing, it will just dust off essentially. It's kind of like when you think about wood and like you're dusting, you're using coarse sandpaper to sand something down. When it's dry, that's when things break apart. But when it's wet, it doesn't break apart because it has all these like gooey bonds in between the skin. So that's why putting this into real practicality, when you go and use one of these type of foot filers, you shouldn't get into the shower, wet your feet, and then start scrubbing. What you want to do is, before you get into the shower, your feet clean, file your feet with the coarse side of your foot filer dry and just watch all that skin just literally fall right off, and then use the other smoothing side just to smooth it all off, and then take a shower to clean the feet. But if you're trying to take off dead skin, doing it when it's wet is extremely ineffective. Now you're gonna ask me why the water pedicure is still around, and it is mostly around because the reinvestment into updated trends and techniques, it hasn't been done. Obviously, it costs money to change a system to re-educate everybody, so that's why it's still around. I know for a fact that schools in Ontario are starting to teach more of the dry pedicure, and I think that you will see a shift in the next 10 years of most salons losing this water based technique, because people are finding more and more that by using the dry pedicure technique, you're actually reducing the amount of water you're using in a salon. You're also reducing the amount, the chances of infection and bacteria infection, because you're not using the basins as much. So yeah, the dry pedicure, if you haven't heard it, haven't tried it, try it. It's such a game changer. And the way you do it at home is just file your feet before you actually get into the shower. Okay, so now that we understand the different technique, the next one we want to talk about is the type of product, moisturizers for your heels. Now, a big part of why a lot of people typically don't like to do their own pedicure at home is like they hate the feeling of the product that has to be on the feet, because it's either too oily and you walk around, or whatever the case may be. So I want to let you know what different options on the market. So first of all, we all know that there's a foot cream. Now, a foot cream and a body cream are not the same thing, because typically the skin on our feet is so much more thicker than the skin on our body. So using a regular body lotion is just not going to cut it. And so using a proper foot cream to hydrate the feet is more ideal. And if you do have more like cracked heels or calloused heels, then you want to move into ointments and slabs. So let's start with, if you have really, really thick cracked heels build up. So after you file off that dead skin, you want to follow up with a product such as this. Oops, sorry, my bad. This is the slab for cracked heels, cracked skin. This is a pharmaceutical line from Germany. A lot of people know this brand, Gaywall. And this one is the best one if you have that type of foot condition, but it's really unpleasant experience because it's so oily and greasy. And by putting this on, you're gonna leave footprints all over the house. So if you're gonna have to use something like this, you wanna put socks on after. I personally don't like it, but when I need to do a treatment for myself, because I have cracked and calloused feet, I always go to this one, but I put on socks and go to bed. So that whole concept, you think about Vaseline, this is what you actually should be using if you have that type of foot condition, and then put the socks on. So just to show you, if you can, I know that my screen is a little bit bright. It's kind of like an ointment, and once I rub it in, you're gonna see that even as I rub it in, it leaves a really, you'll probably see that shine there. You see that shine? It's very greasy and it doesn't really absorb in. So but that's the type of level of slip and greasiness you actually need in order to treat the heel. So if you hate that type of feeling of greasy foot cream, you can always move onto using foot foam. A lot of people don't even know this product exists, but it's really cool. So foot foam is literally just that. So it is a foam that comes out like this, and it absorbs extremely fast. So I'll show you that to you here. I wiped off the slab in case you didn't see it. So as you can see, it has absorbed in really quickly, and it feels nice and hydrated, but it does not have a greasy feeling. Now, these foams come in, will treat different conditions. So this one is just your basic foot cream mousse. But they have one for cracked heels, they have one for sweaty feet, they have all different types of foot foams. And the major difference is that this will actually give you results a little bit quicker. This will give you the same type of results, just a little bit longer. And I mean, right, it makes sense because like you're getting the finish of it is so much more non-greasy, so obviously it's just not as potent. It works very well, it just takes a little bit longer to work, but if you're using it on a daily basis because it's so much more tolerable, then it's all good, right? The next one is if you have, if you have relatively pretty easy breezy feet that just need a little bit of moisture, so you don't necessarily have to do foam thing, and you want a solution that's quick and easy, this is Gaywall's herbal lotion. It's from that same German pharmaceutical line, and this one's so beautiful. It has rosemary, mountain pine, and lavender, so it smells so nice. But all you need to do is after you get out of the shower and clean up, all you gotta do is spray. So it will spray, it leaves this beautiful scent, and it hydrates the feet. And it's very, very light. So this is your easy breezy product. And once you use this, you're gonna fall in love with the scent. It's very beautiful. But this is like more on the lighter side. So yeah, that's essentially the different products that you can actually use on the feet. And I would like to, usually this is my go-to because I like the way this absorbs in, but I can't get away with not using this. So I would call this like your hair, your deep conditioning hair mask, and this is your everyday. And then you can also use this one if your feet are a little bit more on like the normal soft side as it is. Okay. Now, I just want to talk about foot filers really differently because this is the traditional foot file that you're usually familiar with, and it's not that expensive. It's made out of wood, but I actually have fallen in love with this foot file. It's from Footlogix, which is the same brand here as well. They're both they are a pharmaceutical line, but why I like this better than this, because this one has more longevity. Has a little hook here so you can hook it into whatever rack you have in the shower, but because it's a metal and a almost like a smooth plastic, this lasts for so much more longer. And the problem is with these wood ones is that when you keep these things in the shower, water will absorb into these guys, and you're gonna find these things will start to peel, and this will wear out a little bit faster. Obviously, there's a massive price difference between the two, but they bring different values. This is just gonna last you a lot more longer. It's a little bit more hygienic because it's, it doesn't absorb the way this guy does. But I mean, on a budget-friendly side, this is great as well. There's one more product that I don't have a sample of because I ran out, but it's an exfoliating foot mask. So what you do is that you put after you like clean your feet and everything, you actually, for people that have really, really dry feet, after you scrub their feet and whatnot, you put this sock on, and inside has actually a bunch of different fruit acids and whatnot. And what that does is that you keep it on for, I believe, 30 minutes, and then you rinse you'll rinse it off, and in the course of 7 days your feet will peel like you've never seen it before. It's actually kind of gross, like the process of it peeling, but by the time it finishes its thing, your feet are so baby smooth. So it gives it that chemical peel for the feet, and it's such an amazing product. Everybody can use it, but especially if you have that dry callous feet, use this first and then use that mask to get the most optimal results. Keep a bunch of those masks in your cabinets, because whenever you just need to have a pedicure and you're too lazy, if you use that mask, your feet will just peel, and 7 days later it would be just absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, that's essentially a little bit about the information I want to share with you in regards to taking care of your feet at home. Obviously, another thing that everyone should always use on your feet is a exfoliating scrub that has really nourishing oils, because that will hydrate the feet while taking off some of the superficial dead skin layers. And yeah, if you don't have these tools, I will be following up this post with a link to the order forms that you can pick. I will have one for regular feet, and I will have one for really dry cracked heels. And if you want to add in additional products such as scrubs and whatnot, I'll give you the option there to actually customize your kit. But yeah, other than that, if you have any questions, please leave it in the comments section. More than happy to answer them. I might not be able to get them to them immediately, but I will get to them as soon as possible. And if there is anything you want to see in specific for video and tutorials, please leave a message or a comment, and I will put that onto my agenda. And other than that, I hope that you find value in the video that I've just given you, and hope to see you once the quarantine's over. Have a good one. Good night.